Hello again and welcome back to my channel. Yes, we're getting straight into part 2 of this table leg design. Part 1 with the tabletop completed, with a small shorts video after that following it up, and a huge thank you to everybody who got in touch with thoughts and ideas and designs for table legs, which I compiled a short list that I sent off to the client, and he came back with this one. He said they actually preferred the simplicity of it because it blends well with the other furniture that they have in the kitchen. So I thought that's not a problem. Seems simple enough, but I'll come back to that one later. So I raided the reclaimed timber in the garage and in the back of the garden there, and I found some oak and it planed up lovely. Some beautiful detail in this, but I haven't got enough of it, unfortunately. So I'm going to go to plan B. I do have a length of about 2.5–3 meters of beech, which is really nice and chunky, solid, lovely beech, but it's not oak. So I've been working on a couple of little samples. I've got my Heidelberg Prolignum hard wax oil, and then so I'll give that a little bit of a coat on the sample. I've got some Danish oil as well, and as you can see here, the hard wax oil is a pretty good match once it's stained against the oak top. The Danish oil was a bit too dark, I think. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to use beech for the table legs. Now I'm going to get stuck into it. The design itself is simplicity in itself, really. 4 posts, and in the kind of like false underframe on the table, I'm just going to join them at the top, and I'm going to domino those together. It is going to be a bit of an experiment though, because my big concern is, will there be any wobble in the legs, really, you know, the kind of rigidity of it. So I'm going to go with that design and then see where I'm at with that. And if I'm happy with that, I'm going to leave it at that. If not, I'm going to have to look at some way to kind of brace them or support them. So yeah, that's pretty much it really. I'm going to crack on with it. I've got some cutting to do. I've got some chamfering to do on the base so they don't tear out. Got some roundovers to do, got the dominoing to do, so I've got plenty to do. Let's get on with it and see how we get on. So I hope you get the general idea of the frame. I've chamfered the bottom of the legs already because I thought it'd be easier to do it on the router table before assembly. I've cut the frame, which is about 4mm narrower than the false bottom, so it should give a little bit of wiggle room underneath if there's any movement. So the next step really, I think, is to domino, glue and clamp together. These are the biggest dominoes I've got. I don't have an XL, so this is the biggest one I think for the DF500. And I think just one in the middle, because if I go for two, I think the likelihood is I'm going to catch the other one on the other side. So yeah, I think it's time to get the domino jig out, Jeff's jig, and get cutting and assembling. I just hope this will be sturdy enough. And then once it's all assembled, I'll get me palm router for the round over, bit of sanding, bit of oiling. And fingers crossed. Well, this is the dry fit with the dominoes in, and I have to say it couldn't have gone any better at this stage. If you haven't seen my how I use a Festool domino one-handed, O3a CA jig made for me by my YouTube friend Jeff, it's an absolute game changer, it really is, and I'd recommend that jig to anyone because for alignment, it's just incredible. That really good. I've even managed to get the top. Let me go and get the top now. Ooh, so the top slotted on lovely, just really good. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue the two long pieces to the legs separately, let that go off overnight, then glue the side pieces in just to try and make it a little bit less, I think stressful is the actual word, isn't it? Now, a bit of wobble there, I'm not going to deny, but it's not secured or anything, it's not even glued in yet, so I'm hoping this is going to be enough. If not, I'm going to have to look at some kind of additional bracing to go underneath it, but I've got to be happy with that. Got to be happy with that. Right then, let's crack on. 2 glue ups and then that's it for today, I think. Yeah, remember me pacing. Very good. Right, fears allayed, really happy with that. The table is solid, properly solid. So yeah, really good. Still plenty to do, mind. I've got to round over all the table legs. I've got a little bit of knot filler to do on some of them, some real nice little character knots in, so we need to sort them out. What else do we need to do? Oh, threaded inserts on the underside of the table, and then get the Forstner bit out for some kind of wider gaps with the washers and the bolt for them to allow for a bit of movement. And then get some finish on, get some Heidelberg on. So yeah, best crack on. Yeah, great start to the day. I know from a lot of the woodworkers I watch it on YouTube, they absolutely detest sanding. To be honest, I don't mind it. I kind of like just kind of go into my own little world. I get some tunes on in my isotunes and just kind of lose myself a little bit. Vertical sanding though, and I'm on 80 grit to trying to get all this cleaned up before I get to the 120. As much as I love this sander, don't half miss the Deros when it comes to vertical sanding. Keep having to stop because my arm's just going dead. It's only, from my video I can remember, it's only about 200 and something grams difference. You don't half feel it when you're having to sand for a prolonged period of time. Anyway, enough moaning, best get on with it. So I've gone over it all with the random Orbit 80 grit, which is quite aggressive, gets rid of all the bad marks and the clamp marks and the glue squeeze and all that. So now I've moved to my Dios, which is the Orbit sand, the 3mm Orbit, but also on the actual interface pad, I've got this sponge pad. Now this is really good for doing this kind of stuff because when you're using the random Orbit on the roundovers from the router, you've got to be really careful because you know you can overdo it. But if I can just show you it on this now, try and get an angle, is you can actually just push the sponge interface onto those roundovers and it gives it a lot more uniformity, gives it a lot more consistency, and it's gentler as well. This is an 80 grit pad on it at the moment, which I'll then go up to 120, but it just makes it all a bit nicer, shall we say. Also, if you've got the, and I'll zoom in on, say for example, this bit here, if you've got a bit of burn from the router, this again, it's not too aggressive, but it will get rid of the burn marks for you, as I can show you here. So yeah, you know, it doesn't have to be a Dios or anything, but if you're using just an Orbit sander, see if you can get one of those sponge interface pads because they really do make a difference. Right then, I'm going to finish the 80 grit on this, then I'm going to go and have a brew, and then I'm going to come back, go to 120, I think it'll just be for these, and then we'll start to get some finish on. Possibly 180. I'll see how they feel at the end of there. 120, see how it goes. And here it is, done and dusted. Oh, I'm really, really happy with how this has turned out. And a huge thank you to you all for your advice and support during this project, during this process, both through my social media and through part one and the shorts video with this. I do think I'm getting a little bit more confident in my skills and in my ability to produce a table like this. Yes, things still take a long time, but that is always going to be the nature of one-handed woodworking, only working with one arm. But I do think recently I've kind of been upping my levels a little bit in terms of actual quality of production, actually using the resin here. I know resin isn't for everyone, but if a close up on this now and you have a look, it really does bring out the character of the wood. You know, the wood is the star of the show here, and the resin is the little frame of the character on this part here. So really, really happy with that. I think the choice of legs we went with does complement the tabletop, because the tabletop is the star of the show. Yeah, I'm really, really chuffed. Oh, really, really happy actually. Well, as ever everyone, take care, look after yourselves. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.